My country saved me, and I cannot forget it. And I will fight for her as long as I draw breath, so help me God.
John McCain has spent his life serving his country.
I am the son and grandson of Navy admirals, and I was born into America's service.
His reputation as a naval fighter pilot, rebellious.
I was immature, I was reckless, I was cocky, but I also knew that I was going to follow in my father and grandfather's footsteps.
He flew bombing missions over Vietnam. He was shot down over Hanoi, badly injured, and thrown into a North Vietnamese prison.
Lieutenant Commander John McCain.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt that I was near death.
He was tortured, kept in solitary, but when given a chance to go home ahead of other POWs, refused. Finally, after 5.5 years, McCain was released. After marrying his wife Cindy, he moved to her home state of Arizona, entered politics, first as a member of the House, and then in '86 he was elected to the U.S. Senate. McCain was a Republican rising star, taking a leading role in normalizing relations with Vietnam.
It's very important for us to recognize that the war is over.
Known as a maverick, willing to think for himself and to work across the aisle on everything from campaign finance reform to immigration. He made his second run for the presidency in 2008, winning the nomination and choosing a relative unknown, Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, as his running mate. The night he lost to Barack Obama, McCain conceded with grace.
Senator Obama has achieved a great thing for himself and for his country. I applaud him for it.
McCain was elected 6 times to the Senate, a Republican but unafraid to challenge his own party.
We're getting nothing done, my friends. We're getting nothing done.
Guided always by the lessons he learned from his father and grandfather.
Do what you know is right. Act in a fashion that you can look back and not be embarrassed but proud.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.